Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome back to Speak Up with Mopriya. Today is Sunday, and today is the time to hear from an expert. I am very excited to let you all know that from today's episode, you are going to get a solution to the problem that I don't have anyone to speak to in English. Let me introduce you to Namita Goel. She is an educator with over 15 years of experience in teaching and designing curriculums, especially in the English language. She has worked in India as well as in the US, and she comes with a plethora of knowledge in teaching the English language. So, without any further ado, sit back, be ready with a pen and a paper, and enjoy the episode. Good evening, Namita. Thank you so much for taking time out and meeting me today. I have been very excited to meet you and bring you on the show so that all our learners can hear about your exciting journey and also about the wonderful work that you are doing for all our English learners. So, welcome to the show, and I hope that both of us can have a wonderful conversation today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really excited to have this conversation, interact with your audience, and see how we can benefit from this conversation. But really excited to be here.
Absolutely awesome. So to begin with, Namita, I'm sure not only just me but all our listeners and viewers out there, they are very excited to first know what was the journey for Namita like? Like from where did teaching and then the interest in the English language start, and what inspired you to start this amazing platform called Sparky that you are working wonders with?
Sure. Thank you for asking that question. I think English has always played a pivotal role in my life. I come from a small town in Uttar Pradesh, and coming from a small town, the education system was fairly, rote learning, a lot of emphasis on rote learning. And I think my one thing that really worked for me was my parents really pushed all of us, like my siblings and me. Three of us were really pushed hard on ensuring that we are reading. We are very well versed with what's happening around us, around the world, and one of the best ways to build that is through reading. And the second thing they ensured was for us to give more opportunities. So if there was any extempore, any kind of debating competition, anything that was happening, they would always enroll us for it. So
Mm.
they instilled in us that the school ecosystem is just not enough. You need to think, much ahead of it. You need to find supplementary ways of picking up communication. And my father, he had traveled a lot, so across the world. So for him, it was very clear that language should not be the barrier or should not come in the way of your growth and development anywhere. And I think
Right.
those two things really worked well for me because I don't have like a fancy degree, but where I am today is because of my ability to communicate or articulate my thoughts in different mediums in different ways. And the journey of Teach for India started back in 2009 when I was part of the first cohort, and it was very accidental for me. I was a media professional prior to that. I used to write for Times of India, and I've written for private publications, and and I think Teach for India was very accidental for me. And when I became a Teach for India fellow, I realized like this is what I'm cut out to do, to teach.
Yes.
And there I realized a lot of emphasis was on English language and building foundational numeracy like math skills, because these two skills are the foundation of your ability to analytically think and your ability to communicate. And English is a
Right.
medium of communication. Like in general, like if you are setting someone on a path of success, then you need to give them the right tools, and English is that tool for you to succeed in life. And I think that's where my interest in English started. So I taught in
Mm.
India, I taught in the US, I was nominated as Teacher of the Year as well. And when I came back to India, I started working with one of the largest B2B edtech unicorns called Lead School. And there I was
Mm.
heading their curriculum. And over there, also one of the biggest problems that we were trying to solve was that there are so many learners who are coming to an English medium institute to learn,
Mm.
but they're not necessarily at that level. They're truly not leveraging that English language. Like, how do we build that proficiency for them to understand everything that they're doing in that ecosystem, that institute?
Right.
So a lot of emphasis was put on English, and that's where we developed an English language curriculum, which is currently used by over 9,000 schools and 5 million kids are using it. So that's
Mm.
where the interest in English language started, and my understanding of English language, like how exactly it's broken down, how different components of listening, speaking, reading, writing come together.
Right.
And then started Sparky. So coming to Sparky's journey, so when we started off as a live class online tutoring player. And
Okay.
we had three categories: communication, music, and visual arts. And in
Mm,
that, we realized communication was one common need that kept coming in, that
mm,
almost everyone wanted. Like not just the children, but even adults wanted
yeah.
communication. Within communication, spoken English came up as a
Mm,
big need. And we
correct.
realized that tutoring is expensive. So
Mm,
if it's such a big need, and in tutoring, what happens is in English classes, like your and my level of English would be different. Third person,
correct.
their English level will be different. So how do we cater to solve for this need at the level
Mm,
where you are at? And it happens best in a one-on-one setting, but one-on-one setting
correct.
becomes extremely expensive, and that's
Mm,
what led to in us sitting down and conceptualizing Sparky, that providing
absolutely.
that one-on-one tutoring experience with a
Mhm.
knowledgeable native English speaker and who is judgment free. So that's
Yes.
where we started thinking about Sparky, and that's what Sparky
Mm.
does.
Wonderful. It is so amazing to hear that journey. And I feel, this is one very common thing that you spoke about, that it is not just children anymore who are interested to learn the language or master the language. I myself, I have students who are like in their 50s, in their 60s, but they still want to learn the language. And that I think is one of the most beautiful things about the language. And it's good that people have realized that it has become a global language now. It is not anymore a thing of the West. So if you want to succeed in today's world, you have to know the language, and that's
Right.
very beautifully put out by you. So I'm very interested to know, how does this work, because I have never worked with any AI tutor. So how does that
Sure.
work?
Sure. So I think best will be to actually show and tell you. So we will see a short demo, but let me
Okay,
just take like 30 seconds to tell you
sure.
like what exactly does it do. So
Uh-huh.
generative AI has the capability of adapting, like it has that flexibility to adapt to the user's level. So for example, based on your age, on your region, it will ascertain that what is your English level. And then based on your English level, it will start adapting its conversation. And what it does is it is designed to motivate you. It is designed to give you corrective feedback in such a way that you don't feel overwhelmed by it in any way. And at the end of the conversation, you receive a report on how did you do, and what where you need more help or more support, or what more you should be doing in order to improve your spoken English fluency. But you know what? Best way to know about Sparky is to see a quick demo of it. So let's see a demo.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love that.
Introducing Sparky, your voice first AI English speaking buddy. Sparky is a native English speaker you can talk to about anything based on your interest and will give you feedback on your spoken English. And guess what? It is much more affordable than going to a tutor. Let's see how it works. With Sparky, you get to decide the conversation. Whether you're practicing daily dialogues or exploring new topics, Sparky is here to help. If you are unsure about a word's meaning, just long press on it. Oh, you missed what Sparky said. Don't worry, you can listen to it again easily. And if you're not interested in the current conversation, simply click Next to switch topics. With Sparky, you'll always have help during conversation, providing tips and suggestions to keep the conversation going. Unsure about your pronunciation? Read stories or articles with Sparky, and Sparky will highlight the mispronounced words in red. Want to unwind or practice vocabulary, pronunciation, or grammar? Play games and learn English in a fun and relaxed way. Sparky is designed to adapt to your learning style, making it easy to practice speaking without pressure. With Sparky, you can see progress and stay motivated to keep learning. It's more than just an app, it's your partner in learning English. So why wait? Get started with Sparky today and unlock your potential to speak English fluently.
All right, Namita, that was really fascinating. Now I feel like, I should go and try this app, because this looks really interesting. And it seems that it's quite user friendly as well. Like anybody, be it of any age, and even though if they are not too well spoken in English, they can also go ahead and use this app. That's what I felt.
Absolutely, because we have designed it for people who are beginners. who we
Mm.
understand that are looking to build proficiency, build fluency in English language. So accordingly, it's designed that anyone should be able to use it. So we have users from 5 to 55. So
Ah,
so keeping that ease in mind is very important for us.
wonderful, great. I feel most of our viewers would also feel very fascinated with this app and they would want to try it out as well. So, what are they able to download it from the Play Store, or how is it accessible?
So they can download it right now. It's an Android app, so it's available on Play Store. So if you search Sparky AI, you will see the icon of a cute fox that you saw in the
Oh,
video,
yes.
and you can download it and start your experience. So part of some amount of experience is free, and after that, it's a subscription model. So you can opt for a 1 month, 3 month, 6 month plan, depending upon your
Okay.
usage. Yeah,
Mhm.
if you would ask me, I would highly recommend more than a month plan, at least 3 months,
Right.
because
Mhm.
we have seen that some of our learners who've been using Sparky consistently for just like 10-15 minutes per day, if they use it
Mhm.
for a period of 2 to 3 months, we are noticing that they start making at least like they're making lesser grammatical mistakes
Oh.
and in their conversation. So at
Mm.
least 30% reduction in their grammatical mistakes. And we are also
Mhm.
noticing that they are able to speak at least 20% more sentences in English than they would
Oh.
have at the start of before they started interacting with Sparky.
That's quite interesting and impressive because, in any ways, like I would, I generally what I tell my students as well that English is a journey. You cannot learn a language in 1 month. That is practically not possible. So, if you want to excel in the language and be fluent, it at least takes a 3 months, 4 months time, depending on the kind of effort that you are putting in. So I would definitely agree with what you said that a longer subscription would definitely make more sense. And I think that is going to be more beneficial for them as well.
Right. And I think one of the common mistakes or myths that we have about English language is that, you can learn it over a period of time. I think language learning is a continuous process. Like even
Right.
after speaking English for the last like 30-35 years of my life, I still continue to learn new things. I'm still
Right.
making mistakes every day. I still learn new things. So I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. I spend 10 to 15 minutes every day with Sparky.
Yeah.
And it's like my dose. Like we have fiber supplement, vitamin supplements. For
Yeah.
me, that is my English supplement. uh, and
Right.
and and I think it's not something that can just go away from your life. And I think that's one of the mistakes that as language learners we become very impatient, that we want to
Right.
learn something like this. And that's not going to
Yes.
happen. It takes time.
That's
It
not
takes time, and English language is like that. It's like it's something
correct.
that you keep building, keep improving at it.
Correct. Yes.
And there's none of us can say that we are perfect at it. I wouldn't say even Shashi Tharoor can say that he's perfect at it.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And to be very honest, Namita, I feel it's not just English, any language. Like, it doesn't mean if we speak in Hindi, we don't make mistakes. We still do make mistakes when we are speaking that
Absolutely.
language since our childhood, right? So,
Exactly.
language is such a journey. You are very right when you say that it's a journey. You lifelong, you're learning something or the other about it, right? So,
Right. Yeah.
so good that you brought out that point because my next question was somewhere, on those lines. And I would
Sure.
definitely want to ask you, most of my guests, whenever they come here, they talk about things that people should do and how to achieve something and all of that. But today I want to ask you, since you spoke about mistakes, what do you think are the most, common 3 to 5 mistakes that learners do as beginners when they start their language, their English language learning journey?
Sure. So one I mentioned is about putting a time box, like, you put yourself in a time box that I will learn or I will master English in like 2 months, 3 months. No. I think you need to think about it like a continuous journey, as we were sharing, that impatience is only going to cause more frustration. So
Correct.
think about it like, if I need to include, like any supplement, I need to include English as part of my daily supplement. And the more I do, the better I will get at it. Like it will keep energizing me. And I think that is what is more important. Consistent daily practice is what is required for English language, and not like in 3 months I need to be perfect in English. And I think that's one of the mistakes that we end up making. That's the same mistake we end up making even for a gym membership. That we start becoming impatient because our focus is so much on the weight rather than on on what all it's doing for our body, the strength or the fitness that it gives us, the foundation it is building. So I think that is one thing, that losing patience. while through the learning journey process. Another is a lot of emphasis we put on grammar. And that comes from a need to be accurate. Because what does
Mm.
grammar do? Grammar does accuracy. But whenever we are learning, like imagine when we were babies, when we picked up the language that was spoken in our household, were we speaking it perfectly the day one? No. It was through what we were listening, we were making mistakes, we were babbling. And then gradually, based on what we learned, we started generating our own language, which was not
Correct.
perfect. So there's so much focus or emphasis on grammar comes in our
Mm.
learning journey. So at the start, it needs to be a free flowing conversation, and that's what you will notice even when you start your journey with Sparky. It starts with a
Mm.
free flowing open conversation, which enables the any learner that I am talking what I know, rather than Sparky is pushing you to talk on something that you don't know. So it's
Correct.
always an easier journey to going from known to unknown. So
Mm.
it's very important that you focus more on generating your own language rather than focusing on being grammatically correct. So I would say that is another mistake that we end up making, that focusing so much on accuracy.
That's very true. I would agree with that. Yes.
Yeah. Another is I have noticed that because again this a lot of training has come through school system where we used to write essay. Then this is how it would be, like my name is this, I am this many years old, and there's a script that we follow. But
Mm.
real life conversations like you and I are talking right now cannot be scripted.
Of course.
So following that script or following a certain format, that these are the three lines that I will say, these are the three lines that I will speak about or memorize. I think that is another mistake that we make, that there's a certain pattern. It's not, it is, there is, the conversations are dynamic. They happen on
Correct.
real time basis. So the focus always needs to be on our ability to find our own words. It doesn't
Mm.
need to be a sentence in English, but within a sentence, can you, whatever words you can think in English, you think in English. And you
Mm.
start adding those words intentionally in your sentence in English. So your entire sentence doesn't need to be in English, but try part translation. That part
Correct.
translation with practice will move into full sentence in English. So there are step by step process to it. So that's very, very important. But going for a script or mugging up something is not the way to learn language at all. I
Right.
would love to hear from you about your experience. Like, what do you think about
I
the things that I'm sharing? Yeah,
I would definitely say, Namita, that I 100% agree with every point that you have stated so far, and I think these are the exact same points that I also speak about with all my students. So that's why, somewhere I feel very connected with what you are saying and the thought process that both of us share. Probably because we both are from that background where English was not the norm, but just like you, even I was encouraged by my parents that no matter what, you have to at least learn this language, because by the time you grow up, this language is going to be everywhere and you will need it, right? And now
right.
I feel, yes, it is very important. And one more thing that I very strongly feel, because I have realized that as a student, and when I grew up, that I was very good in English when I was in school. I have scored like 85, 90 in my English
Wow.
exams. But to be very honest, I used to love the language. I still love the language. But it's only when I went to college I realized that, okay, I don't know how to speak this confidently. I was good in grammar and literature and scoring marks. But the speaking part of it is completely neglected in even today in most of the
Yeah.
schools, right?
Right, right, right.
That is something that I completely connect with when you are saying that, it is not, we are too focused on not just accuracy, but following the books. We are too focused on that, right?
Right.
And that's where I feel that it is more important to build that environment around you to have those regular conversations. So what I generally do in my classes, I don't teach grammar, to be very honest. I only rectify when somebody is making a tense mistake, or when somebody is doing an article mistake or something. But for me, I like to do as many activities with them as possible, where we can have conversations on random things. Like, I would just ask them, tell me a recipe. What do you cook the best? Tell me what is that recipe? How are you going to teach it to me? So, I feel that this concept of having free flowing conversations and making people speak their mind, because I feel that is also one thing in India specifically. People are very closed. when we say we are very closed, it means we don't like to talk much about ourselves. Like so many times I ask people, tell me three things about yourself that you really love, that you admire. Oh, I don't think I have any quality. So bringing out those emotions, because at the end of the day, communication is nothing but your thoughts turning
Yes,
into
yes,
words, right?
yes.
So I feel that the thing that you spoke about, that making people speak and having generic and organic and regular conversations, I feel that is one of the best ways to bring out a change in the way someone speaks.
Absolutely. Like that's the natural way of acquiring any language, is
Correct.
by making connection with what things that you see around you, talking about general topics, having that general conversation. Because I think school trains us to have very academic conversations, very conceptual conversations. But like in a work environment or in a regular environment in our daily life, we don't talk about those things. We talk about things
Right.
that the topical things, and
Yeah.
how do we organize our thoughts? How do we actually structure it? How do we speak about it? I think
Correct.
that's where the conversation flows in, and that is the kind of, I would say, for lack of a better term, training, and that training will
Mm,
come through practice,
correct.
and that can only happen when you are constantly in those role plays, in those scenarios, and
Yeah.
having those conversations of things that interest you. And I
Correct.
think that's where I also wanted to talk about a lot of our learners. Like I speak to my learners almost every second day, and many
Mhm.
of them ask for translation. Like on Sparky, we have a word level translation. We
Okay.
have not provided like a whole bubble translation to our learners, because my invitation to all of them is that when you are coming to Sparky, at home you have access to your native language. That's the
Mm,
environment. But
nice.
with Sparky, the environment needs to be that you're immersed in English, that you don't have
Yeah.
another option but to generate words
Correct.
in English. Even if you're speaking broken language, even if you're just stringing along some two, three words that you know together, it's okay.
Correct.
Sparky will try to
Correct.
make some sense of it to talk to you.
Mhm.
But it's very, very important that you don't have a way out. And
Right.
that can and there are so many researches that are already there on it, which says that it seems a little difficult at the start because it's challenging
Yeah.
you, but at the
Mhm.
same time, over a period of time, this is one of the fastest ways to learn a language, is by fully immersing yourself in that language. But we
Yeah.
do provide word level translation. So if there is a word that Sparky has spoken and you don't know what it means, you can long press on it. It will give you the meaning. It will give you the pronunciation. It will give you the translation of it, but
Right.
not for the whole bubble. Like it's okay. It's all right. You
Correct.
will get there.
Yes.
But
Okay.
be gentle and be kind to yourself. So that's the last advice.
Mm,
This is not a myth, but the advice that I would want to give to the language learners: be patient with yourself.
mm,
Be kind to yourself, because at times when we are impatient and not kind to ourselves, we are pushing ourselves. We become frustrated in the process, and that's why many learners will just stick to a basic beginner level. They are unable to move forward or build proficiency in it because they just lose hope in it.
absolutely. Like I feel so connected with you right now, because it seemed as if I am talking to myself because all these things, my learners, they sometimes get fed up. They're like, ma'am, what is it in Hindi? I'm like, no, there is no Hindi in my class. You cannot speak. No matter how difficult, how much, breakdown of the words you want to do, you do, but we can't have an environment where you are learning from Hindi to English. That is one of the, I generally tell my students that that is one of the biggest mistake that you can make while learning a language, that you are learning it through a different language, and specifically when Hindi and English are so different as two languages. They are so different from each other, right?
Yes.
And of course, like pushing yourself beyond the practical limits, and all those all those ads that we can see, learn English in 3 days, 5 days, and a week's time. So that is definitely not possible, practically not
Right.
possible.
Yes.
So
Completely agree.
understanding that, and also there is one more thing that I also keep telling my students all the time, that don't be too hard on yourself and just say that, oh, I don't know how to say it, I don't know, I can't say. Stop doing that negative talk as well. That is very
Right.
important. Change your thoughts to positive. I
Exactly.
don't know it yet, I'm learning. It just
Right.
takes words here and there. So
Yes,
that change or shift in mindset, I think for everything that you are doing in life, that shift in mindset is the first step. And then you
right.
start doing your things and you start taking other steps.
Completely
So yeah,
agree with you on that. I think what you said about I don't know this yet is such an important thing. That's a very powerful use of language.
yes, yes, absolutely. So, well, Namita, I think, we have spoken about quite a few important aspects of learning the language, and we have also given out a very interesting and conversational tool to our learners. I just hope that all of them are able to take some value out of this episode and they are able to utilize Sparky to the fullest for their betterment. And of course, we are definitely here to help them, guide them wherever needed. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for being on the episode today. And before we say our goodbyes, is there anything else that you would want to ask? Anything else that you would want to say?
Um, I would definitely want to make an invitation to all your learners that um, that Sparky was designed to help everyone, like I said, from 5 to 55 year olds, and we are continuously receiving feedback and working towards how we can make Sparky better. So would love to hear feedback from each one of you. You could leave a comment on for us, in this video, and happy to respond any questions that you may have about Sparky. And I really wish everyone all the best on their language learning journey. It is not rocket science. It just requires consistent practice. That's about it. If you do that, I can promise you that nothing is going to come in your way of in your language learning journey. But you just need to just keep showing up. Just be there.
Correct, correct. I absolutely agree with that. Well, Namita, that was really nice, very interesting, and I had a great time talking to you. And thank you so
Likewise.
much for coming in today. I would definitely hope to meet you once again in future. But for now, take care of yourself and you have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you so much. Wish you the same. Thank you for inviting me. We hope we catch up again sometime.
Absolutely. All right. Bye.
Take care. Bye.